Is it possible for a Trump administration to repeal it without replacing it?
Well, it's not impossible, but it's very, very hard. Repeal and replace Obamacare was a great campaign slogan, but actually repealing and replacing Obamacare is much harder, and here's why. There are two fundamental problems that the Trump administration is going to have. Number one, the interest groups, the doctors, the hospitals, and even the insurers, they want Obamacare. Obamacare helps the hospitals get paid, helps the doctors get paid. And even the insurers who'd like to make certain changes to Obamacare, they still have a law which requires people to buy their product and subsidizes people for buying their product. So none of those three big interest groups involved in the healthcare system, insurers, hospitals, and doctors, want to get rid of Obamacare. A second big problem that the Trump administration is going to have is this. There are people who, under Obamacare, like their coverage and they want to keep their coverage. Is the Trump administration going to say, if you like your coverage, you can keep your coverage? That's something that the Obama administration had some trouble with, and I think the Trump administration is also going to have trouble with that.
Well, okay, that's fair. What about this idea? You said the insurers are in favor of it, though over the last year or so, we've seen a number of the big insurers pull out because it's been unprofitable. Is there a way for the Republicans to fix that issue in whatever they replace it with?
Sure. There's a way to make the system even better for insurers, absolutely. Insurers can be permitted to sell skimpier coverage, to have more pricing freedom so that they can charge people more. Those things would be better for the insurance industry. I'd argue that they'd be worse for consumers, and particularly consumers with health conditions. But sure, the Obamacare can be changed to make it more friendly to insurers. Now, a big question is, what will happen to all these subsidies that the Republicans have called bailouts, with some justification, under Obamacare? The insurers want to keep those subsidies. Will the Republicans keep those subsidies? And if they do, will they continue to call them bailouts?
Jay, what about this idea that I've at least heard among some insurers that basically a lot of this is just going to move over to Medicaid? Is that an existing program that already works? Is that a reasonable idea?
Well, Medicaid is an existing program that already works, but the insurers, and so is Medicare, but private insurers have started to get into the Medicare business. They'd also like to get into the Medicaid business, and what they'd really like to do is to take the good risks for themselves and have the taxpayers fund the bad risks. Let me say one thing, though, just one ray of hope in for the Trump administration, I think, is this. One thing that Donald Trump has been very good at is negotiating, is dealing. And if Mr. Trump, on behalf of the American people, can drive hard bargains with drug companies, which Congress now prohibits Medicare from doing, and also negotiate stringently with doctors and with hospitals and with durable medical equipment manufacturers and with insurers, he really might be able to drive the prices down. But what that would mean is that Donald Trump would have to act on behalf of the government the way that he's acted on behalf of business, and that's just very difficult to do in the government.
But what about this idea that Paul Ryan has laid out? Bertha mentioned some of it, that they can give tax breaks for people outside of the employer-sponsored healthcare system to help them pay and also get rid of the individual mandate to sort of satisfy them politically.
Well, there are various ways to provide incentives to people to stay on, to continue to have coverage. The individual mandate is one, but there are other ways to do it, and I think those are reasonable. If you penalize people for dropping coverage, if you make them pay more if they drop coverage and come back into the market, I think that those are things that are worth discussing.
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the day's biggest stories. You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.